Go Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know, I'm your humble host, the Yao Ming of Revolution. And P. Diddy hit with some disgusting new allegations. This is disgusting. Before we get into that, be sure to wipe your feet. That means hit the like button. Like, share, subscribe. Let everybody know Go Figure is live. Salute, family. They're very disgusting allegations. Minors, men. One person, and it's just so disgusting, y'all. If any kids, I know the kids love Go Figure. Cover their ears. Cover their ears. I know one person said they was pistol whooped. Then their pants was pulled down and Diddy sexually assaulted them. I know. Disgusting, right? This man is out of his mind. But let's get into these allegations, y'all. What exactly is going on?
Warning.
Salute.
The details of these allegations are... Let me stop.
Y'all.
Okay. I'm triggered, and I am not a victim myself of sexual abuse, but 6 lawsuits have been filed against this monster, including 4 of them from men. One of those men says that when he was just 16 years old, he was abused by Diddy. These 6 lawsuits were brought against...
And one of these men say that they were pistol whipped. And then their pants was pulled down. And then they was taken advantage of. Now that's disgusting, y'all. Ain't that disgusting? That's why we're here today. See, this dude, it's not about sex. This man, it's about humiliation. This man is a psychopath. Pistol whipped. What type of sex is that? Oh, this ain't about no sex. You pistol whip a man, then take his butt?
Against him by that attorney, Tony Busby, who said that he plans to file 120 individual lawsuits against Diddy. Now we've gotten the first 6. The span of time ranges from the 90s to as recently as 2021. This most recent one allegedly happened in October of 2021 in New York. The man claims that he became disoriented after having 1 drink. He says the room started spinning, and the next thing he remembers is being in a bedroom paralyzed.
Psychopath, man.
He says at least 3 men sexually assaulted him through sodomy and other force acts. And he claims he distinctly recalls seeing a naked Diddy above him at one point during the alleged assault. A similar story. Back in 2006, another man claims he was hired to work security for Diddy's white party, where he believes he consumed a drink that was laced with GHB and or ecstasy. He says Diddy then forced him into a van, overpowered him, and sexually assaulted him.
Now, this is crazy.
The man claims...
Crazy, bro. Now, either this dude is an outright liar or Diddy is a monster, man. The man say he just was working security for the party. And Diddy's like, how you a drink? And then took some butt. This is crazy, man.
Diddy inserted his male member into his hole down behind and sodomized him. The man says the alleged rape resulted in semen leaking out of his body.
No, that's disgusting. That's disgusting. Diddy hit him raw. That's what that man's saying. Come on, well, protect the kids out, y'all. This live is, we got to get to the bottom of this. You see, now that it's all, everything's coming out, all these people was calling this sex. You see, this person was saying they had sex with Diddy. Now Diddy's been arrested. Now Diddy said, hey, Diddy raped me. That wasn't sex. You see, these people was, some of them say they was rape, but I'm saying they thought they was gonna be flirting with him forever. Diddy showering them with money, tricking off with him. But no. Now that Diddy's in jail, the man saying, well, hey, fuck it. He raped me. And semen was in me. This is crazy.
The third of the men that came forward claims that in 2008, he was working for Marc Ecko, a fashion designer, and he knew Diddy through his work. At the time, Diddy was doing very well with his Sean John, a competing brand. This man says he ran into Diddy and 3 bodyguards in the stockroom of Macy's flagship store in May of 2008. And this man claims someone pistol whipped the back of his neck and caused him to fall to his hands and knees. He then says Diddy approached him and said, suck my D, and then orally raped him.
Pistol whipped him, then orally raped the man. This is crazy. This is Diddy though. This is about power. This is about humiliation. This sounds just about right. All adding up.
The incident from 1998 was the one involving a then 16-year-old boy. This now man says that in 98, when he was just 16, he was invited to Diddy's white party in the Hamptons. There's a photo of the two of them taken. He says that Diddy...
See, and I said this and I'll say this again. See, this is where Ray J get the booty goon stuff from. You remember Ray J threatened Fabulous with the booty goons on Breakfast Club? Everybody laughed. Ray J said, I'm going to put the booty goons on you. That come from hanging with Puff. That nobody in hip-hop ever was talking about no booty goons. Puff got booty goons. They are booty goons, nigga. They'll knock you out and take your booty, take your mouth. Ray J was high and told the truth that the booty goons would get Fabulous. Wasn't Puffy coming on to Fabulous? I'm like, no, I want to party with you, Fabulous. I want to really party.
Took an interest in him and took him to a more private area to chat, where Diddy told him he had the right look for the music industry and could be made into a star with Diddy's help. He claims Diddy abruptly told him to drop his pants and expose his male member for inspection, with Diddy saying it was a rite of passage and asking, don't you want to break into the business?
Come on, yep.
He says he relented and dropped his pants, exposing himself, and claims that Diddy...
Now, I want people to say, oh, that's just a lie. They just want Diddy money. They after the money. This nigga's perverse, telling kids and women and young men this is a rite of passage. You got to do this to break into the business. You're never going to get in the business unless you do this. Disgusting, man.
Cupped
how many of our children
and held onto his genitals, squeezing and feeling them. A 16-year-old. In the 5th lawsuit filed, this woman claims that she was sexually assaulted by Diddy way back in the 90s at an event for Biggie. This woman says that Diddy asked to have a word with her in private at the event before leading her into a bathroom. There, he allegedly began kissing her. She claims that she asked him to slow down, but that he advanced aggressively by slamming her head against the wall. She fell to the ground before attempting to escape, but Diddy allegedly struck her again and then lifted her dress and raped her, according to this lawsuit. He also allegedly threatened her, saying, you better not tell anyone about this.
What's so crazy about this is, you know, this happened all the time in our communities with these D-boys, these niggas with this money. You know how they be doing these women? Rick Ross told you to put some in your drink, they won't even know it.
Or you will disappear. The woman claims the trauma haunts her to this day and that she's kept it a secret for years, fearing retaliation. And finally, in the 6th lawsuit filed, a woman says that she was just 19 years old and a freshman in college when she and a friend were invited to an exclusive Diddy party at the Marriott Hotel in New York City. When they arrived, security allegedly ushered them into a private room. When asked where they were being taken, the security guard allegedly responded, "You know what you are here for." Diddy then entered the room and instructed the teenagers, to drink alcohol and do blow. The plaintiff claims she didn't want to, and Diddy started to become aggressive with her friend. He then allegedly demanded them to perform oral sex on him and said he'd kill them if they didn't. The plaintiff says her friend agreed and that Diddy then would not let her leave. He then allegedly forced the plaintiff to undress before sexually assaulting her. She claims she was crying as the door to the bedroom opened and a security guard asked if everything was okay. At that point, she says her friend ran out of the room, but that she could not because Diddy was allegedly on top of her. The embattled rapper then apparently got off her to speak with the security guard and told her to stay put or else he'd kill her. 30 minutes later, a separate security guard allegedly entered the room and told her she could leave, and she took a taxi straight back to her dorm. This woman is also suing Bad Boy Corporations and Marriott International, the hotel chain. And in this particular case, the attorney, Busby, says the hotel management was aware of Diddy's conduct, but looked the other way. Why also have the authorities not indicted and brought charges against any of these bodyguards or any of Diddy's other enablers, his staff members? Others need to be held accountable too. And these are just 6 of literally dozens more lawsuits to come. Thoughts on everything? Let me know in the comments.
Everybody in line. It's like your people used to tell you back in the day. Everybody not lying on you. When I used to come home from school and, "Oh, Daddy, I didn't do it." My dad like, "Boy," so all them teachers up there lying on you. The principal, the vice principal, the PE teacher, the math teacher, the science teacher. It's just everybody against you, right? Come on. I knew I was lying. I knew it was me the whole time. Come on, everybody not lying on P. Diddy.
Diddy Combs is now facing 6
whole world lying on Diddy.
spanning 2 decades. Awful allegations, including some coming in from a man who says he was 16 at the time of the alleged incident, which occurred at one of Combs's Hampton white parties. Another accuser is also bringing in evidence. None of this looks good. Welcome to Popcorn Planet's Diddygate coverage. I am Andy Signor, and I'm here to summarize the 6 new lawsuits that have been dropped from Tony Busby, the attorney who says he has over 120 accusers. He finally filed his first 6. Now, none of these contain celebrities, but it still contains awful allegations. And I want to make sure we're recapping these for you so we can all keep up to date with the amount. There's going to be a lot of these. So we will be breaking them down for you. In fact, we'll be going through them in more detail later today during our live. So make sure if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell for all alerts, click that all. So that way, when you get the alerts, click the thumbs up, leave a comment. It helps the algorithm make sure you get the videos and others can see the severity of this case as it moves forward. Now, yes, 6 new lawsuits. Diddy's lawyers have responded. They fired back at Busby saying he just wants publicity. His defense team really kind of sucks. What I thought we would do is just give you a broad recap of these 6 accusers and their lawsuits. And then later today, we'll go into more detail along with other Diddy news. So let's go through it. The first complaint, the lawsuit comes in from 2004, a 19-year-old Jane Doe who was invited to a photo shoot promoting The Band by Sean Combs. She was later invited and then taken to a hotel. At the party, Miss Doe and her friend were suddenly grabbed by security and taken to a separate room. She asked him where they were going, and the guard responded, "You know what you were here for." Now, I'm going to get into more details, but just pardon the way I'm speaking. I have to speak in a certain way to avoid certain labels of this video. So apologies in advance. We'll go through in more detail later today, like I said in the live, but I'm going to try to explain the best I can without YouTube punishing this video. Here we go. It gets more extreme. So warning. After Doe and her friend were taken to the bedroom, security guard left and locked the door. Combs was in a room and pressured her and her friend to consume substances and became more aggressive. He demanded that Jane Doe's friend perform on him as he would have them both if they didn't. He then turned to Miss Doe and forced her to, do that under the threat of bad stuff. He then basically did it anyway and SA'd her. Combs then continued to A her until a security guard interrupted. Combs then left the room, but told Miss Doe to stay, otherwise she would be. About a half hour of sitting in the dark room by herself, another security guard came and told her that she could leave. She left immediately. Now, what's interesting about this case is there's clearly a friend who can also back up the incident. There are security guards, which if they know and they aren't saying anything, shame on them. They clearly now are complicit. They helped Diddy do it. So it makes sense why they're now trying to lie, but shame on them. I hope some of these guards wise up and actually do the right thing here to put him away. They still are guilty, but I'd be more, slightly empathetic, if you will, if they finally come forward and tell the truth so we can put Diddy away and prove it. Now, the second case comes in, and there's actually an image that we're going to get to in a second. John Doe worked for the Royal Reigns Management, a prestigious company, and Doe's industry connections. He gained access to parties associated with Combs and Bad Boy Entertainment. Now, in October of 2021, Combs' businesses picked up Doe from the airport and took him where the party was to take place. Plaintiff was immediately offered what he was told was a substance. He refused, but had one drink. Doe soon became disoriented and the room started spinning. He tried to leave, but a male voice told him to hold on, and he promised to help him. The next thing Doe remembers is him being in a bedroom, unable to move, speak, or fight back. Multiple men began to be there with him, doing things. Doe distinctly recalls seeing Combs above him without clothes at one point. Doe believes he was aided by at least 3 men, as he could feel the difference from them each. Now, this guy also brought evidence here. This was what he alleged photograph of an exemplary container used by Combs and his agents to insert the GHB into alcoholic drinks is seen below. Now, that's not helpful. Now, I don't know if this is something he got from the day. How would he have seen it afterwards? This is something he's showing to sort of show as an example of what it could have been, but still like effective to see this and realize, oh my God, this is so dark what they're doing, how intense this actually is. Yeah, they're even trying to include their own evidence. All right, now here we go. This is case 3, 2008. John Doe worked as an advisor for Echo Clothing around the time that Sean John was hitting peak popularity. Doe had met Combs several times in connection with the clothing line. Both lines were carried by Macy's. Doe was was in the stockroom at a Macy's flagship store in Manhattan when Combs and 3 bodyguards entered. Doe was hit hard around the base of the neck, possibly with a pistol.
That's crazy.
He fell to his hands and knees, looked up and saw the bodyguards were armed. Multiple voices called out things like, "I will K you." Combs approached and said, "S my D, Echo." He was then forced to do so. He made derogatory comments like, "You like that white boy?" After he was finished, Combs threw plaintiff's head aside and said the words of effective, "Shut up or I'll K you." Combs proceeded to gather Sean John merchandise from the stockroom, headed out to the Macy's retail floor where he began passing out merchandise to an adoring crowd. Doe reported this to Macy's security and was told someone would speak with him, but no one did. 3 weeks later, the CEO of Macy's pressured Echo executives to fire Doe as they had just signed a multi-million dollar
bro.
deal with Sean John.
Come on, bro.
Doe is
If
informed
they
and
go
believes
back and find out that this dude was fired and all this shit, come on, man. This shit gonna be crazy that P. Diddy walked in there, knocked that man in the back of his head with a pistol. P. Diddy pulled his pants down and said, suck his meat, white boy, huh? And got some head and then went out there and started passing our stuff to all his fans. Boy, that's disgusting. That man
believes that the report of the incident was destroyed or otherwise purged from Macy's records. Now, that's intense to think that Macy's was in on this. And there it is. Organization John Doe's at Macy's, Inc. Damn. Fourth incident coming in. Here it is. The fourth one in 2006. John Doe accepted a last-minute job at Combs's East Hampton property, which he believed was hosting an exclusive white party for a large, affluent crowd. As the event progressed, Combs targeted Doe and provided him with 2 alcoholic drinks throughout the night. After consuming the second drink, Doe began to feel extreme.
All that Ashton Kutcher, all that Justin Bieber, Leonardo DiCaprio, all of the favorite Hollywood stars, when they fans find out Puffy sexually assaulted all of them on tape, they're going to be so distraught.
Ill. Combs approached him again and was forcibly pushed into an open van by Combs. My God, if this is true, just like the amount of like people involved in doing this, right? Doe was held down and overpowered, struggled to escape. Combs then proceeded to R him while dismissing plaintiff's pleas for help by repeatedly saying, "You'll be all right."
What happened?
Afterwards, he left the plaintiff in the van and proceeded back to the party. Plaintiff struggled to leave the parties, but was disoriented. Doe finally managed to leave the scene and return home. He informed his supervisor of the incident. Again, that's what's also troubling about all these accusations. Everyone's reporting it, but then the reports go unfollowed up. Someone kills these reports. Fifth case. This is now around June 1995. Jane Doe attended a promotional party at Elks Plaza in New York City for the music video One More Chance by Biggie Smalls. While Doe was dancing with friends, Combs approached her and asked to speak with her privately. Once alone in a bathroom, Combs unexpectedly began kissing her. She asked him to slow down, thinking they were there to talk, but he became more aggressive and forced it. She then fell disoriented, where Combs then did it again. Similar to the video of Cassie, that's what we're implying here. Sorry if I can't specifically say it out loud. Combs then lifted it all up and R'd her while she laid on the floor. Afterwards, Combs threatened her, "You better not tell anyone about this or you will disappear." Quote. Combs left the bathroom, abandoning her in a state of shock, fear, and shame, as well as pain. She gathered her strength and left the party. Sixth case. Now, this is the one I told you about in the beginning. This is John Doe, 16, received an invite to one of Combs's parties in the Hamptons. He made his way through the crowd towards the restroom. He unexpectedly bumped into Combs. Doe took a picture with Combs at the party. They walked to a more private area near the portable restrooms brought for the party. There, John Doe told Combs he was a big fan and shared his dreams of becoming a star. Combs abruptly instructed John to drop it and expose so he could inspect it.
That's crazy.
Explaining it was the rite of passage and that the route to becoming a star, and also as a way to prove himself.
Right.
Don't you want to break into the business? Out of fear, he then did it. Combs moved closer and did more than inspect it. Combs abruptly then let go and told him that his people would be in touch. Because of Combs's power and notoriety, plaintiff was afraid to report what had happened. So, look, again, serious allegations.
Serious allegations that man sat there and told a 60-year-old, drop it. Let me inspect your meat. This a rite of passage. You want to break into the music business. Come on now, man. Everybody know he did that shit, bro.
Seemingly would be witnesses around these incidents. We can't assume they're all 100% factual, but given what we're learning about Diddy, it sure sounds that way. And that's what Tony Busby's saying as well. I have a clip right here.
There's an overarching theme here, as you probably can see, which is basically Sean Combs feels like he can do whatever he wants.
Combs's legal team have not commented on the latest string of suits.
They have. I'm going to show you that in the end.
Which were the first from Texas attorney Tony Busby, who claims Diddy won't be the only celebrity named in future lawsuits.
Certainly, there will be people named in these suits that will raise some eyebrows.
Last week, a federal...
So here's what Diddy actually says regarding these cases. Diddy's legal team is pushing back. Attorneys tell TMZ the press conference and 800 number that preceded today's barrage of filings were clear attempts to garner publicity. Reference to Busby, who says he's representing 120 alleged victims. I mean, sure, that's part of winning a case, though. And I don't think this guy, who's a legit guy, is going to risk his whole career if he didn't have legit things coming in. Now, Diddy's legal team says in court, the truth will prevail that Mr. Combs has never essayed anyone, adult, of any age, man or woman.
People are already selling, though. Puffy fucked.
Looking forward to that day in court. We will see.
Puffy fucked on a bunch of these cases because he's already been settling with celebrities who were co-conspirators in the 120 cases. See, that's what Puffy can say. Oh, he just wanted attention. Well, that's not what those celebrities are saying who's already paying him and paying his clients.
See what happens. Excuse me. But yes, 4 of the accusers were men. 1 was 16, 2 females. As we showed you those details. Oh, look at this guy. We're going to be talking about him again this week. Stay tuned.
Oh, yeah. He sexually assaulted Leonardo, all of them. Ashton Kutcher, Justin Bieber. Come on, man. They was victims and then they turned into willing participants. That's how that went.
Joining us now is Nima Rahmani, former federal prosecutor. Great to have you here. I think the biggest headline from here is that one of these alleged victims was a minor. That's serious.
Very serious, and I agree with you, Elizabeth. Obviously, it changes the game. This is the first individual who allegedly...
that's disrespectful, that punk sitting there making that 16-year-old boy show him his meat. Talking about it's a rite of passage. That's some Greek freak fraternal bullshit. Telling these young men, this is what you got to do to break into the game. Everybody's doing it. This is how I had to get my hundreds of millions, finessing these youngsters to look at their meat, then grabbing that young man meat and telling okay, my people going to get back with you. Come on, man, that's disgusting, man.
Assaulted while they were a minor. And obviously it's just a civil lawsuit, but if that works its way into the federal criminal indictment, if there is indeed a superseding indictment, that changes the game in 2 ways. One, of course, there's a mandatory minimum and very serious sentences for sex trafficking of minors. But importantly, it really gets around one of Combs's defense. That is that the sexual contact happened, but it was consensual between adults because, of course, minors cannot consent.
Exactly, because they've argued, listen, in his bail hearing and in public statements, they've said, okay, it might not be your cup of tea, his sexual predilections, but they're not illegal if they're all consenting. A minor cannot give consent.
Exactly, Elizabeth. So the defense would have to go in a very different direction. It would have to be that the contact never happened at all. So again, very different type of defense. So, to the extent that more and more victims are coming forward, sometimes it's hard for juries.
It's disgusting. How many young talented rappers this dude act like he was going to break into the business? Musicians in period. But it really was his fetish to manipulate them. Talking about they rite of passage, like he did to Usher. But they be doing this. He done it to Lil Baby. I seen this man, how he was all up on Lil Baby. I said, I know what he's trying to do to that young man. What he done to Meek Mill. What he did to French Montana. Where he's singing Happy Birthday to French and in a loving manner, where he sexually harassed Fabulous in our face. That was disgusting what he done to Fabulous in our face. And I want to really party. Fabulous say, Puff, but we party. Like a sexual assault victim, Fabulous broke down. No more G, no more gangster, but Puff, we already partied. Puff say, no, I want to really party, nigga. Come on, man.
Juries to believe.
They lying on Puff. Nigga, Puff sexually harassed nigga on camera. What the hell you talking about?
An allegation of 1 or 2 victims, but when victim after victim, and here you have dozens now who are coming forward and telling the same story of physical and sexual violence, drugs, Diddy's security being involved. very serious rape allegations. It's going to be very hard to disbelieve.
Yeah, we should never forget that even though Bill Cosby's conviction was overturned, one of the things that earned him that
security going to be involved in federal prison. Yeah, the niggas that securing them, they're going to they're going to have freakouts in federal prison, nigga.
Conviction was the litany, and they later ruled it was prejudicial. So many people were coming forward. Same thing in the Weinstein case. Woman after woman after woman telling identical stories. One of the victims in this lawsuit filed today against Sean Combs alleges that Combs forced him to perform a sex act in the stockroom of a Macy's department store. Macy's is also named in the lawsuit. Why?
Well, this is an individual that worked for a rival clothing company, and Diddy, of course, owned Sean John. This is an allegation that after the rape happened and this individual reported it, they were fired. So there's a wrongful termination component as well. But like you said, with Weinstein, with Cosby, oftentimes predators, they use the same MO. And we saw that in those two cases and how powerful it was. Cosby, the first time he was tried, there was one victim.
They fired him because Diddy bodyguard hit him in the back of the neck with a pistol or something. Then Diddy pulled his pants down and said, "Suck my D, white boy. How you like that?" Assaulted him, sexually assaulted the dude at the store. After he finished with him, then he said, "Shut up, I'll kill you." Then he went outside and signed autographs for his adoring fans. And then the white guy went and told the cops, told the people that basically, this is not funny, real talk, but that shit is disgusting. Sexual assault is not funny. But the dude reported this shit to the authorities and they fired him. Man, that man finna win $100 million lawsuit against them people for that shit. They fired him. Because Diddy was the golden boy at that time. Diddy was tricking all kind of black people. They were like, "Oh, hell no, we got to sell all this bullshit, baggy clothes to black people and make them think this shit is cool."
Victim or prior bad acts witness, the jury hung. The second time, one victim, 5 prior bad acts witnesses, and the jury convicted. I can't even imagine how many victims and witnesses we're going to have in Combs's case. It's going to be a lot, and I think it's going to be very difficult to defend.
The lawyer who filed these lawsuits today, Tony Busby, listen, who knows if, what's really true here. He claims he has more than 3,000 people who've contacted him with stories about Sean Combs.
And I don't know if that's true or not, but if it indeed is filing lawsuits on behalf of
bullshit, these niggas, it's D-boys in the hood can get hit with 1,000 lawsuits. Y'all know that shit. Anyway, these big time niggas, they everywhere doing this shit. Nigga, they go to every freak meet day in every city. Are you crazy? That's low ball number, nigga. This nigga been doing this shit. They say this shit go back to 91 and shit. This nigga doing this shit in college. It's some women say they were beat and assaulted sexually in college. They say, well, 3,000. What? They mean 30,000? This damn demon is one of the biggest demons of all fucking times, man. This ain't no gay. This ain't the white man just going after no black man. This man is a disgusting predator, bro. And it seems like since he's bisexual, he just want to sleep with everybody. Everybody come. If you party with him, he want to have sex with you. But y'all thought Cat Williams was bullshitting? You got to tell Diddy no. Diddy get on these drugs and he just want to have sex and beat and terrorize everybody, man. That's just the fucking truth, and people got to accept that.
120 individuals, and we saw 6 of those today, including 25 minors. The sheer number of lawsuits, I mean, it's overwhelming. I mean, we're talking about someone that was reportedly worth $1 billion. Maybe he's worth half of that now, but by the time the case is over, these civil lawsuits, judgments, and settlements, he's probably going to be broke. So the question is, how much money is going to be had for these victims when this is all said and done? Probably not a whole lot.
Nima, what effect, I mean, will the jury in his criminal trial even know about all of these lawsuits, even know about these more than 100 victims who have sued him? Keeping in mind, by the way, that, he's had 18, I believe, lawsuits filed against him. One has been settled. That's one involved Cassie, his former girlfriend, the singer Cassie. And that involved that infamous videotape, the horrific videotape that shows him beating her up and dragging her by the hair in a hotel hallway. He denied doing it. And then the video emerged and he came forward and said, "I'm so sorry I did it." In other words, his credibility is already in the mud.
Oh, completely shot. And the irony is, and again, I don't know if this is true, but Cassie wanted $30 million to settle that case. Diddy was reportedly only willing to pay $10 million, which was 1% of his net worth. The statute of limitations was coming up in New York, so she was forced to file. Of course, he settled the next day, but that started this whole Me Too movement where everyone came forward. But to answer your question, at trial, the jurors aren't going to hear about the civil lawsuits unless those victims testify as one of three ways: as a victim who's actually charged as sex trafficking, a RICO predicate act, or a prior bad acts witness. But those victims are going to have to come, show up to trial, testify, and if so, the jurors will hear the allegations, not what's necessarily in one of these civil lawsuits.
Thanks so much for watching.
Musician Sean Diddy Combs facing a new round of serious and disturbing allegations. The rapper and record label executive has been accused of sexual assault in 6 new lawsuits, all filed anonymously at this point. The alleged victims include men, women, and a teenage boy. The lawsuit says Combs told them, that then 16-year-old boy, that the alleged assault was a rite of passage to becoming a music star. That is the allegation from him. CNN's Elizabeth Wagmeister is joining us now from Los Angeles. What more can you tell us about what is in these lawsuits? And at this point, we don't know the names of those who are making these accusations.
That is correct. These were all filed anonymously as either Jane Does or John Does. There are 4 male accusers who filed as John Does, and there are 2 female accusers who filed as Jane Does. Now, these lawsuits, Sarah, range from 1995 to 2021. There are a lot of similarities throughout these lawsuits. All of the accusers are alleging that they were sexually assaulted by Combs, and half of the accusers alleged that they were drugged. Now, you mentioned that one of these accusers alleges that he was a minor at the time. He says that he was 16 years old. As you said, that Combs allegedly told him that this was a way to break into the industry when he sexually assaulted him at a white party. I want to walk you through some of the other lawsuits. One female accuser alleges that she was 19 years old at the time. She was a college student. Another woman says that she was raped at a party in 1995 for a music video. I want to read you part of her lawsuit. It says, quote, "When plaintiff attempted to pull away, he violently struck her, slamming her head against the wall and causing her to fall to the floor. Disoriented and in pain, plaintiff tried to escape, but Combs hit her again, making it nearly impossible for her to move." That is when she alleges that she was raped. The most recent accusation coming from a man who says that in 2021 that he was actually flown out by Combs's businesses and transported from the airport to a party in New York. That is where he said that he was drugged, and then that he claims that he was sodomized. So very graphic details in all of these lawsuits. Now, you may remember that earlier this month, an attorney from Houston named Tony Busby, he came forward in a
revolutionary salute to my brother for the people, 619 for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. They like, share, subscribe, salute, family. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, family. Salute.
In a press conference, he said that he was representing at least 120 new accusers, that he planned to file lawsuits for all of them. These are the 6 first lawsuits to come from this attorney, so they are all represented by him. Now, I spoke to him earlier this month about the lawsuits that he said would be coming. Let's take a look at what he told me about some of those similar accusations.
The white party comes up quite often, but there's a lot of partying going on. Album release parties, after parties, club parties, parties after club. I mean, you name it. These were people that were there, that were allegedly drugged and then allegedly raped, passed around, woke up the next morning with just completely clueless about what had happened to them, and just in utter shock and injured even.
Now, when I spoke to that attorney, he told me that he did intend to file lawsuits for all of his 120 clients that he says that he is representing, Sarah.
Has Combs or his attorneys responded to any of the allegations in these new lawsuits yet?
Yes, I obtained a statement from his attorneys yesterday. They say that that attorney is simply looking for publicity. I want to read you part of their statement, Sarah. They say, quote, Mr. Combs and his legal team have full confidence in the facts, their legal defenses, and the integrity of the judicial process. In court, the truth will prevail that Mr. Combs has never sexually assaulted anyone, adult or minor, man or woman. So you see there not responding to the specific allegations in these 6 lawsuits, but denying full stop that beyond even these 6 lawsuits that he ever sexually assaulted anyone.
Elizabeth Wagmeister, thank you so much for keeping us updated on this ongoing story with more lawsuits against Sean Diddy Combs. Appreciate it.
I'm joined by our CNN senior legal analyst and former assistant U.S. attorney Ellie Honig. Some of these go back to the 1990s, but this is the first time he's been accused of something with a minor. Can you just put this in context of what it means for prosecutors here and what this looks like?
So this is only trouble for Sean Combs because prosecutors look for this kind of thing. We look for media reports. We look for civil lawsuits as a way to find new victims in cases like this. So I promise you, the prosecutors on this case are reaching out to the lawyers for these 6 new alleged victims, and they're going to start vetting them. And if any of these victims prove out to be credible and corroborated, they're going to be added to this indictment. If we see a new indictment, and prosecutors are just trying to build their case here, they have this much more ammunition that they can look into using now.
So we could very easily see this being added to that indictment.
Happens all the time in sex assault cases, especially where you have a mass
Is that a superseding indictment?
Exactly.
What is that?
You got the terminology. Yes, a superseding indictment. But this happens in sex trafficking cases. I did a case once where we started off with 70 some victims.
Teenager, he had
and when
to
word
show
got
his meat.
out, we
It's a right
did a big
pass
splashy
with
press
the
release.
music industry.
We found a couple dozen more because there's comfort in numbers, right? Think about if, God forbid, if you or someone you knew was a victim and you found out other people are coming forward, it makes it easier for others to come forward. So I do expect this case to grow.
Well, it makes me think of when Diddy was first charged, we had his attorney, Mark Agnifilo, here on The Source. We were talking to him because in the indictment, it said 50 victims and witnesses. And obviously that's a massive number. He argued to me, he thought it was 49 witnesses, 1 victim.
Yeah.
I mean, you were skeptical about that.
I was very dubious then. Now I'm certain that that's wrong. First of all, the indictment says victims, plural. Second of all, I promise you that prosecutors are already in touch with at least the lawyers for these 6 new people, and they're going to check them out and see. And by the way, you have to be careful when you're a prosecutor with civil suits because they can be a good source of leads. But remember, these are people who are now asking for money. We've already seen comments from Sean Combs' lawyer saying, oh, they're just looking for a payday. So you have to be extra careful and make sure that you can not just believe them, but corroborate them. Can you back them up? Can you find other evidence that you can present to a jury and say they're telling the truth?
And of course, he's denied all wrongdoing. Yeah. But when you're looking into this, if something is legitimate and prosecutors do find something, we don't know. Obviously, these are anonymous people who are making these very serious allegations. How soon could those charges be added?
Oh, you need to move very quickly.
He's going to trial next May.
Yeah, the trial's in May. And so prosecutors aren't going to want to blow up that trial date. I think they're going to want to get it in real quick. And by the way, some of these allegations, as you said, go back to 1995. People are probably wondering, well, isn't that beyond the statute of limitations? Usually it's 5 years. But the catch here is RICO, the racketeering charges, which prosecutors have brought. And racketeering can enable you as a prosecutor to charge conduct that goes way farther back than 5 years. So racketeering is a real powerful tool for prosecutors. I once charged a case involving conduct that went back to 1987 based on racketeering. So watch for prosecutors to use that here.
Ellie, thank you.
Thanks, Kate.
What's going on, y'all? What it is. So let's go ahead and slide on these topics. And the first thing I want to discuss is Diddy's son, Christian Combs. He happened to be spotted out this past weekend, serving it up and having a good old time with some females in the vicinity. And just seems as though he doesn't have a care in the world in the midst of his father being locked up and facing multiple charges of SAR and so forth and so on, etc. and etc. Now, Christian was seen up in the club serving up a young lady a drink. Now, I don't know if that's his girl or not, but we hope that it wasn't spiked or doused with anything because we know that that's been his father's Achilles heel. because as it pertains to the victims in the Diddy case, they have all alleged that they felt like their drink was spiked with something that left them vulnerable, incoherent, and some of them were left with their back door toe wide open. Now, a lot of people feel that this isn't a good look for Christian because they feel like that with your father facing all of these charges, you should be maintaining a low profile. Now, I do want to state this. It's not like he was caught by paparazzi or just a random fan or whatever the case may be. Christian voluntarily came on camera. He knows that girl that he was partying with because it seems as though it could have been his phone propped up or her phone propped up, but he came on camera to dance, to do the Harlem Shake, just acting like his father, a younger version of his father. Now, there was no sighting of his brothers, Justin and Quincy, but they could have been there. But I think that they would have all stuck together because at the end of the day, even though Christian was at the club and his father may be locked up, don't think for one damn moment that Christian didn't have security somewhere within that circumference watching everything and making sure that nothing went left. But anyway, when I look at this video, I just see Diddy's demon inside of Christian. They're not separate demons. They're one and the same. Because for you to be so insensitive and have the lack of awareness to be serving up a young lady a drink, knowing that those are things that your father has been accused of, not saying that there was anything in her drink, it's just the overall perception of it. You know, your dad is facing accusations of taking advantage of men and women through alcohol by spiking it, and you're on camera. You come on camera willingly and you're serving up a young lady a drink. I just don't think that he was mindful in that moment, whether it was innocent or not. When I look at him, it's like you may have gotten one demon, but there's two. Yeah, double trouble, bitch. Now, I understand that this is a young man and maybe him going out to the club, being around girls, having a few drinks, this helps alleviate the pain and the suffering that he's going through with his father being allegedly locked up. And for those of you who follow me tight, you know why I keep saying that Diddy is allegedly locked up. I don't have to explain it anymore, right? But what I'm saying is, young man, you have to understand the assignment. And the assignment is, if you support your father through and through, get the hell from outside, lay low until the trial is over. That's how you support him. This right here, I'm not saying that it puts a stain on Diddy that he doesn't already have, but it just doesn't look good. But anyway, let's move along and talk about this dude's father yet again, because according to attorney Tony Busby, there has been 6 separate lawsuits that have been filed against Diddy. Now, if you guys don't know, Tony Busby is the lawyer that is spearheading the lawsuits that were filed by allegedly 120 victims against Diddy. So now there's 6 separate people that have come forward, and they're basically alleging some horrific things as it pertains to their involvement and their encounters with Diddy. So what I want to do right now is play you guys a few clips as it pertains to the new lawsuits that have been filed against Diddy. And I also want to throw in a clip where Rihanna's former publicist is backing Jaguar right up, saying that she's right about a lot of things as it pertains to Jay-Z and more. So guys, sit tight and I'll be back.
So Attorney Stephanie, what do you think about this Diddy case?
I'm not saying nothing on the Diddy case. I'm not saying a word on the Diddy case. I'm not saying nothing about that case. Don't call me and ask me. I'm not giving you my opinion on the case. No, because I don't want to piss a whole bunch of folk off with what I believe. But no, that's one case that I am definitely staying away from. But I will say this. I will say this one thing. I will say that this case is probably going to cause a lot of people to lower their freak number.
Diddy's got 4 lawsuits out today from men. Yes, men. Hold on. Because I didn't like reading it. So out of the 6 lawsuits that have come out, 4 of them are men. They're claiming assault, and they're all represented by Tony Busby. One suit, a man says that he was working for Echo Clothing back in 2008, and he knew Diddy through work. At that time, Diddy was developing Sean John, so he was around a lot. He alleges that Diddy and 3 of his bodyguards followed him into a stockroom at Macy's flagship in 2008. He claims someone whipped him in the back of the head and he woke up on all 4s. So I guess when the guy got conscious, he realized that he was on all 4s and Diddy was telling him to get him some got 3,000. And so he was orally In another lawsuit, a guy alleges that he was hired as a security guard for Diddy's all-white party in 2006 and claimed that one of his drinks was laced with GHB or the X-Stuff. He alleges that Diddy forced him into a van, overpowered him, and actually assaulted him. The man claims Diddy inserted his you-know-what into the man's you-know-who and gave him some sodomization. He alleges it was so bad that Diddy's little family was leaking out of his you-know-what. Hold on. This lawsuit, which is lawsuit number 3, is from 2020. The victim said he was disoriented after consuming one drink at Diddy's party. He said the room started spinning, and the next thing he remembers is he was being put in the bedroom. He was paralyzed. He said there was at least 3 men actually assaulting him through me and force act. He recalls seeing a Diddy standing over him at one point. The 4th lawsuit has to deal with somebody who was under at the time. A man says he was only 16 years old when he was invited to Diddy's 1998 white party in the Hamptons. Him and Diddy got a picture together. Diddy took interest in him allegedly and said he wanted more private time in a private area to chat. Diddy basically told him he had some good music for him and could make him into a star. Then left. Claims Diddy abruptly told him to drop his and expose his you-know-what for inspection. This ain't the military. He allegedly told the boy that this is a rite of passage. Do you want to be in the industry? Do you want to be a star? Not that much. The victim said he succumbed to Diddy's request and dropped his and exposed his you-know-what, and claims Diddy cupped him and held him into his hands and squeezed and felt on them. There are more of these. There are more of these. Busby is getting his own playlist, y'all. If y'all want to keep a follow of these, I suggest you put me on notification because, baby, it's about to get ugly.
I'm a lawyer. I've been talking about the Diddy case. So today, Monday, October 14th, there were 6 new federal lawsuits filed against Diddy in New York federal court. If you remember a couple weeks back, Tony Busby is the attorney who held a press conference and said he's going to be representing over 120 victims of P. Diddy's crimes and that he's going to start filing suits. Well, today it happened. He filed 6 suits, 2 female victims, 4 male victims. They are federal civil cases. So what that means is that now the regular civil procedure starts, which is there is going to be the regular discovery process where each side starts to provide their information to each other, the defense and the plaintiff. So what's different here versus what's happening in federal court, or I'm sorry, in criminal court. So in criminal court, it's the U.S. versus P. Diddy for crimes. Here in these civil cases, it's person A versus P. Diddy, and it is for crimes, but he's not being charged by the state. He's being sued for damages, which is money. So he can settle these suits, and he very well may. Every single civil suit that comes his way from Tony Busby may get settled, which at least these people are getting paid. But that does not do anything to that federal criminal trial against him, which is happening no matter what. That cannot be settled. He can't buy his way out of that. The government does not do settlements in criminal cases. That's just not how criminal court works. So hopefully, these people get their money one way or the other, and he is going to be put on trial in May no matter what.
Jaguar Wright has been vindicated by Rihanna's former publicist on her claims about Jay-Z and Diddy. Rihanna's former publicist, Jonathan Hay, has spoke out about his time when he worked as a publicist for an underage Rihanna, and he has been alleging that he was questioned by the feds about Jay-Z's alleged relationship with an underage Rihanna. Jonathan Hay claimed that back in 2005, the FBI came to him claiming that they were investigating Jay-Z for an alleged incident that happened with R. Kelly, and they wanted to ask him about a rumor that had been going around about Jay-Z being in a relationship with an underage Rihanna. Jonathan Hay said that when all of this Diddy stuff broke, he started to rethink everything that happened to him when he worked for an underage Rihanna and how the feds came to question him about Jay-Z's alleged relationships with underage females. He then started to question, was he really involved in something nefarious that he didn't know about when he worked for an underage Rihanna? Because Jay-Z does have relationships with people like Diddy, R. Kelly, who he also said the feds brought up back in 2005 for an incident that happened between R. Kelly and Jay-Z, and Jay-Z's connection to Harvey Weinstein. After exposing everything that happened to him back in 2005 and when he worked with Rihanna, he then met with Jaguar Wright because he heard all of her claims that she has been saying about Jay-Z. Jonathan Hay said Jaguar Wright has connected a lot of the dots that people have been afraid to talk about and have wondered for years. And now I have just exclusively talked to Jonathan Hay, who is standing up for all of Jaguar Wright's claims, claiming that they have proof that Jay-Z is connected to all these nefarious people. So why isn't he being questioned? So I'm going to go ahead and roll y'all this clip of Jonathan Hay explaining his thoughts on Jaguar Wright getting sent.
Revolutionary salute to our Queen Shannon G for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, Queen. Salute to you.
From Piers Morgan about her claims that she made about Jay-Z and Beyonce being connected to Diddy. And y'all let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
Piers Morgan, I'm surprised that you would retract and censor your uncensored show based on the words of Jay-Z and Beyonce. You would take their words, not any evidence, just simply their words. And you're taking the word of a man, Jay-Z, who is business partners with Diddy, R. Kelly, and that's who you side with. Jay-Z.
And Russell Simmons.
Hova, we got receipts, bro. Your time is up. And now Ray J. He's also dissing Jaguar. He's dissing Jaguar because Ray J is friends with Diddy. And he's friends with Jay-Z. And he's friends with Beyonce. And Jay's defending, and Ray J, listen, Ray J's defending Beyonce because Jay-Z's and he likes to watch Ray J, his wife. And that's the truth. Because you can look at my history with Rock Nation, with Jay-Z. I know that Jay's it's not a crime to be a I'm not saying that. But Jay-Z and Diddy are both to like to watch men, their wives, or their girlfriends. And Ray J, he's Beyonce. And that's why he's out here now defending Jay-Z. And that's why he's defending Diddy. Because Diddy, Ray J, listen, Ray J, Jay-Z, and Beyonce are all on the Diddy tapes. DJ Vlad, shut the yo. Shut up, bro. Listen, son, you're the reason why we are sometimes called culture voters. You're all about the views, bro. Quit being fake. Quit lying. And how come you always have problems with women of color? Y'all need to man up.
All right, so you guys just heard all of that, and it's just crazy in regards to the influx of people that are filing these civil lawsuits against Diddy. Now, you guys know my ideology. I never discredit victims until I'm proven otherwise. But honestly speaking, I would be remiss to the idea if I didn't say that I feel like some of this stuff sounds a bit finicky in my estimation, right? But I'm holding on by a thread, y'all. We're going to keep empowering these alleged victims because at the end of the day, we don't know until the truth is exposed. Now, as far as Rihanna's former publicist, Jonathan Hay, coming out and saying the things that he said about Jay-Z, Diddy, Beyonce, and Ray J in defense of Jaguar, I just wonder, are the same people within our community that discredit Jaguar and her story, some of her stories. We know that everything is not facts, right? Because no one was actually everywhere that these incidents allegedly took place. But as far as him coming out defending her, I wonder within our community, will y'all believe the YT man? Because y'all know how some people within our community works. When media platforms that are melanated come out with breaking news, some of them will sit back and say, well, we'll wait for TMZ to report it. Because guess what? TMZ is a YT news media platform, and y'all gonna always believe them over your own people, right? So here's Jonathan Hay, who worked closely with Rihanna, and he's telling you all of these things within the industry. He has ties to the industry. Now, I wonder if the people within my community that doubts everything that Jaguar Wright says, will they come around and start really paying attention and say, hey, maybe she's telling the truth about some things, right? Like I said, everything is not fact. But at the end of the day, Jaguar knows something. And on top of that, when you have a YT man to take the time out of his day to come on camera to defend a melanated woman, when he does well for himself financially, and he has way more to lose than Jaguar Wright if he was sued, that shows a lot. That shows his true character. That shows that he knows what he's talking about as it pertains to the industry. And it makes me pose this question. I know a lot of people say, well, they're not going to sue Jaguar because she has nothing, right? But you can sue Jaguar to keep her quiet, right? You could. And you can sue Jonathan Hay because Jonathan Hay has way more financial stability than Jaguar. Why aren't these celebrities stepping up to sue Jaguar, to sue a Jonathan Hay and many others that have ties to the industry and have come out and put the industry on blast? Why won't they sue them? My guess is if they were to sue a Jaguar or a Jonathan Hay, let's just say that they don't have any receipts to back them up, to rely on in the court of law. That doesn't mean that they can't point the investigators and lawyers in the right direction to the individual that has all of the receipts on Jay-Z, on a Diddy, on Hollywood in its entirety. And I don't think that these people want to go down that particular rabbit hole. They don't want to open up those can of worms. And something tells me that Jonathan Hay would be the wrong person to try and sue, because I believe that Jonathan Hay has some people that sit in high places that look like him, where he has easy access to get information just like that. Now, something that Jonathan said that stuck out like a sore thumb is when he said that Beyonce and Ray J have been intimate together and Jay-Z has sat back and watched them. I never knew about that. Have you guys ever heard of that rumor? Is that old news or is that new news to you too? Because I've never heard of it before. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna let this go right here. I want you guys.
So this entire situation with Diddy, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Jaguar Wright, Ray J has made a statement and he seemingly confirms everything. Well, I shouldn't say everything, but some of what Jaguar Wright stated. Now, if you guys have been watching her interviews, she is saying that Jay-Z is one of the people that's trying to get Diddy arrested, honey, because what they trying to say is that Diddy has the tapes of everybody. And if you guys will go back and watch, some of those Jaguar Wright videos, she did say this about those tapes before it even ever came out. So I would like to jump into this video because there's a lot of information that Ray J reveals, and I'm not sure he knows that he kind of gave us some information. So let's jump right into this video. And as always, guys, make sure you are subscribed to the channel.
Please, I don't have any time for any gossip now. Eh? Yes.
Now, I've been recently watching a lot of Jaguar Wright videos. Now, I'm not going to say everything she says seems to be truthful, but a lot of the stuff that she has stated has actually come true. If you guys remember, she's been talking about Diddy forever. She's always said Diddy and Jay-Z was the same person. Now, most recently, after she did the Piers Morgan interview, Ray J tried to meet with her, and she said that there was an amount of money that was put on her head, insinuating that people are trying to get her deleted. Now, the reason that that is so important is because Ray J just tried to meet with her, saying that he, wanted to give her some work and acting as if he didn't have a problem with her. But of course, she didn't meet with him. And that is important because now he is saying something totally different, which is kind of insinuating that why did he want to meet her and talk to her, but yet he's spewing out all of these different things, which, I mean, he can have his opinion, but why did you want to meet this lady and give her work and all of this stuff that you were originally stating? But now you're saying something totally different. It just doesn't add up. So it's leading me to believe, Jaguar stated that she thought that somebody was trying to have her deleted. So I want to get into this video because it's going to be very important to point out some of the things that Ray J states in his reply to Jaguar Wright.
You got our attention. Is what you're saying true? Because this shit is outrageous. But I came to the conclusion that once I seen the story about me and what you had to say about me and situations in my past, that is where I started to understand that you are totally fabricating stories and you are a complete liar. So that means that I have no respect for you and nothing you're saying. So now I'm gonna go further. How dare you disrespect Jay-Z and Beyonce? Jay-Z is an OG. Don't ever disrespect Beyonce, because now that you're lying on me, and I know for sure that all the shit you're saying is a lie. Now you want to go for Beyonce. Jaguar, you done fucked up. Jaguar Wright, you done fucked up. You don't even fucked up, don't you? You don't even fucked up. You know you done fucked up. Jaguar Wright. Jaguar Wright, you done fucked up. You done fucked up. Because now you lying on me. I know a lie when I know I didn't do something, right? You know somebody lying about you when you know the facts. Jaguar, you have lied about the wrong person. And I'm not talking about me, because I don't give a fuck about what you said about me, because that's nonsense. What I do care about is you talking about Beyonce. I don't like when people talk about Beyonce. We're not gonna do that. You done fucked up. Jay-Z is an OG. Brush that shit off. And I'm sure Beyonce gives no hells and no fucks. But Beyonce has never done nothing to nobody. I haven't seen Beyonce make one mistake. And you know what? That's somebody that's really trying to make sure that her image is in the forefront and be a role model for all these young girls and all the people that's inspiring to be like her or to follow down a path like that. That's a path you want to follow down. Why are you trying to fuck that up? Why are you lying on Jay-Z and Beyonce? How do we create a solution so these Jaguar rights don't exist in our new society?
Can somebody make me understand why did Ray J feel it was so important for him to come out and say the ridiculous ish that he just said? First of all, Beyonce is not a god. She definitely makes mistakes, whether you saw them or not. She makes a lot of them. All you have to do is Google. She had complaints from her employees saying that, I believe that she had put something. It's stuff out there on Beyonce. So Ray J, you sound dumb. And also Ray J should be addressing the situation with his wife that allegedly they're saying that he put his hands on her. And then we saw him on the internet telling his own child look to be a lie to try to cover up whatever he had did. So I guess I'm not understanding why a grown A man feels to need to protect another grown A man, his wife, and in his household. None of this makes sense. So Jay-Z and Beyonce has not been charged with anything. Jaguar Wright has been talking for years. So what is going on now that now everybody wants to come out, Don Lemon, now Ray J, and make a statement? Oh, don't say anything about Jay.
Look, Ray J need to be questioned under federal questioning which he could be tried for perjury about why was he threatening to sick his booty goons on Fabulous? You know, and do those booty goons work for Puffy? And who is the industry booty goons? Because Puffy is being sued now as a vicious booty goon. Is Puffy the OG booty goon? That's what Ray J need to explain. Why was he threatening booty goons to attack Fabulous?
Jay-Z and Beyonce, you guys seem like some D writers to me, because these are adults. Let them address their own issues. But the problem here is you have said nothing about Diddy. You have spoken, you haven't said anything, but you're protecting Jay-Z and Beyonce, but you have said nothing about Diddy, but you run to the internet to say something so stupid. Jaguar Wright has been saying this for years. Why did you feel a need to address anything that she stated, especially since she's been doing this for years, but you have not said anything to the credibility of Diddy when he is in
Ray J is the
prison?
Hollywood
You have
male
been to his
intellect.
house. You have been partying with him. Why are you not saying anything? Do you know it? Or maybe you're not saying anything because you know that it's true, or you've heard stories. Something is not adding up. But you ran right away and protected Jay-Z and Beyonce from a liar, because you said Jaguar Wright is a liar. So if she's in fact a liar, do you really need to protect anybody from someone who's a liar?
Why do you think we haven't heard from anyone until now?
You know, I just feel like a lot of people are in shock. A lot of people are dealing with it in their own way. But in times like these, I mean, we should come together. We should talk about it as a community. It's easy to divide and point fingers, but unity is where you build. You can have a stronger future for the culture. I mean, Diddy's been an icon for decades. We've all listened to his music. We've all been around him, that at least in my era, and have looked up to him. And in this situation, it's super unfortunate, but it's important to learn a lesson right now, and ensure the next generation understands how to move differently with transparency and integrity. And I think transparency and integrity moving forward should be non-negotiable.
I hear you. And look, we need that in every culture. You hear and may know what I hear, which is people aren't coming out because they either suspected this about him, or they don't want to have any connection to him. And then I guess there's another group who's worried they're going to get pulled in, which is one of the suggestions from prosecutors. When you were with him, you had to have heard the kinds of things that other people heard about what Diddy could be about on the dark side and excesses of his. What did you make of what you heard, and what did you ever see for yourself that gave you an opinion about what he was about?
Well, for myself, and I think a lot of other people in this industry, I mean, it's all a shock because, you know, we've never seen.
What a joke, you fucking clown. See, the nigga just said we gotta be transparent with so the new generation move there. But be transparent. And then he lied. The next sentence he lying. It was a shock to us. Ray J, you going down, brother, please. Because you have booty goons. You said you have booty goons who was gonna sexually assault Fabulous, bro. Now the booty goons, P. Diddy is being described in federal papers and lawsuits as a booty goon who knocked people out, he demand head, he take butt. Come on, Ray J, you been hanging with P. Diddy. You not shocked? You knew this was coming?
Seen the stuff that's being said and the stuff that people are finding out. Like, I've never been in rooms that people are talking about, and I never knew they existed.
When Tupac was alive, we just had goons. Tupac died, P. Diddy took over power, then you niggas got booty goons. Come on, Ray J, you know what happened.
And a lot of people in the industry can agree with me on that sense. Like, you all wanted to go and have a good time at a Diddy party, you know, and you wanted to be inspired. You wanted.
That ain't no good time being date. This dude is sick. Boy, knocking women and knocking men unconscious, sexual assault, that ain't no good time. What's wrong with you? Boy, you were a victim. Hurt people hurt people. The industry been using and abused you since you was young. We all wanted to go have a good time with Hugh Hefner. Oh, everybody wanted to go have a good time with Jeffrey Epstein, boy. Woo! Everybody party hard with Harvey Weinstein. Party with R. Kelly. You party with Diddy. That's a disgrace now. No, you niggas no longer y'all gonna act like, well, we all did it. Yeah. It is plenty jail cells for y'all.
Wanted to go out and have a good time, and then you wanted to go the next day to work, and you wanted to work hard in this good vibe, you know. And so
that's what Diddy sold y'all.
To see where we are now, I just think everybody is still trying to digest it and still trying to understand it.
These niggas is the sickest of the sickest type of niggas, bro. Because see, they masters took advantage of them. So they preyed on people. These rich elite, all kind of women wanted them. Bitch, if you was gay, all kind of gay men wanted them. No, they want to have the power. No, they don't want you to want them. They want to take from you and then treat you like filth and garbage and say, be gone. Get out my presence. You see? This is what this shit is all about. How you talking about? Nobody had to be taken advantage of. These niggas is wealthy. For the beautiful women wanting them, this ain't what that's about. This is about humiliating individuals. You having no right to say yeah or nay about what we do to you. Being as disgusting as they can be with a fucking corpse, a lifeless body. People taking up for them. Oh, hell no. If a woman did want to give you some, you knocked her unconscious, nigga. You wrong for that. Oh, damn. Did you see what she was wearing? You knocked her out. What's wrong with you niggas, man? Disgusting behavior. And when he's sick of their lives, nobody knew nothing. Oh, nigga, guilty if you say you didn't know nothing. Disgusting pup. You knew everything. That's why you wanted to party. That's why y'all wanted to party with Diddy. Because no woman could say no. None of the males that you want to sleep with could say no at a Diddy party. You see? It was all yes at a Diddy party. Fucking joke.
And even though, you know, there's still allegations and it's not anything that's
just allegations
factual yet.
We're going to get new singers. We get new singers, new basketball players, because LeBron James, all them niggas was partying now. New football players, even the Diggs boy, even the Stephon Diggs, they trying to push the Cardi B story. The hell with that. What about the man who say Stephon Diggs them on his butt and try to rape him like P. Diddy? And then his brother and them beat him up. They released that video. We don't want to hear about him and Cardi B. What about the man that he tried to sexually assault? You see, this is what Diddy done, party with Diddy done turn all of these young men into sexual deviants. You see that? Can't let them get away with this shit.
It's hurtful and it's confusing to a lot of people. I mean, we all grew up, you know, listening to Puff and Bad Boy, and they represented success and resilience, but it comes with responsibility.
I listen to One More Chance. I listen to Going Back to Cali. I never wanted to rub drugs on no woman until she passed out and then take her goodies. I listen to some Puffy music, and I've never wanted to make a young man pull his pants down to grab his testicles and say, this is the right to become a man in the fucking hood. No, Ray J, you're a liar. Nigga, you niggas been tricked to think this is how I got to succeed. This is the only way to advance in the upper echelons. You niggas fell for that. Now you're going down. And I don't want to hear they're not doing this to the white man. You ain't white. You're not white. That's your problem. Oh, what's to get away? Every time I hear niggas say they're only doing this because he's black. Oh, you didn't want to get away with raping people, did you?
Existed and all. Right now, we just need to use it as a moment to reflect, not to criticize, but find a better way to move forward as leaders, individuals, in this culture that we're in right now. When people fall.
Guys, I don't know what y'all think, but there is so much more that I heard that he did not say. And let's just
this niggas going to
unpack
jail,
this.
bro. That's serious
For
business because
one-
they all guilty. They got caught on drugs. Anybody ever been on drugs? You understand? These niggas on drugs and they done all disgusting shit, bro. And it's on tape. It's all coming out. There's nothing to be shocked about. Like, oh my goodness, cut your pearls. They fucked up and they gotta pay. And the black community not gonna protect them. Are you crazy? No, they gotta go. They disgusting, bro. This is all of them is sexual deviants and perverts. You got anybody in your family with some talent, you can't even send them. They don't want to get in the business. These people gonna sexually assault them. Unless they fat and ugly, then they just gonna humiliate. Oh, you don't got the look. The look to what? To be sexually assaulted?
And he came out to protect Jay-Z and Beyonce. Now, everybody knows that Jay-Z and Beyonce are best friends with Diddy. And in another interview that I'm going to do later, you'll hear somebody say that Jay-Z and Beyonce are always at Diddy parties. As a matter of fact, Jay-Z and Beyonce are in his house while the majority of the people are outside. So Jay-Z and Beyonce was so close to Diddy that they were allowed to be in his home while he's outside with the guests. So y'all need to understand that Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Diddy were very much so friends. But why is Ray J, when asked about Diddy, he seems to not know anything? He doesn't know anything, but then he goes on to say, they've never saw this. If you guys are listening, he made very good word choices. He never said that it didn't happen. He said he didn't see it, and basically nobody he knows have saw it. But Chris Cuomo said that, maybe people are not coming out and sticking up for Diddy because maybe they're the type of person that have heard it and pretty much think that it's true, or they're the person who has been a part of it and they're afraid that they may be on the tapes. Now, I don't know how Jay-Z and Beyonce fit in that category, but we do know that they've been seeking attorneys.
Man, I told people at the beginning of this how the fuck Jay-Z and Beyonce fit into that. Puffy was the man after Pac got killed, Biggie got killed, Suge went to jail. Puffy controlled the industry. Jay-Z just wanted to be like Puffy. Nas told y'all that. He said Damon wanted to be Puffy and big. Puffy had the whole world in his hands. He had all the money, not Jay-Z. Jay-Z was trying to come up. Puffy was the big dog. So when he started throwing them parties, Jay-Z was just happy to be in the millionaire rooms. So when Puffy said, "Oh yeah, y'all can go use that room to snort coke, pop pills, freak around," Jay didn't know that nigga was recording back then. They had no idea. They on drugs too, just partying, nigga, wanting to be like Puff. Come on, man, Puff got all their ass on motherfucking tape. LeBron, any of them niggas, everybody wanted to be like Puff. Yeah, he got their ass.
And then another video that I'm gonna do where a blogger is, talking about being contacted by their team with regards to different stories and stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that is going on in the background. But it does not seem that what is his name? Shucks. That Jay-Z
Come on, what
is
Ja Rule motherfucking ass said? Why we ain't heard from Ja Rule, nigga? And Gene Deal been told that Ja Rule was in that room with Puffy with sex toys, nigga. Ja Rule, the rapper. Yes. And that Ja Rule kinfolk was trying to bust in the room, and Gene was like, nah, I can't let you in there. And they're like, nah, I need to go get my kinfolk. And Gene was like, nah, you ain't going in that, nigga. You got to get through me. But they in the room with sex toys. Come on, man. Where Nelly at? Why Nelly running around here with Shantae trying to pretend like he like women? When we hearing that Puffy was real possessive over Nelly. Over Nelly, he might hurt you. Come on, man.
To protect Diddy, it seems like he's trying to get away from him. And Jaguar Wright did state that Jay-Z is the one behind, or one of the people behind trying to put Diddy in prison forever. Because if you guys now know, if you don't, I'm going to tell you, Tupac Shakur's family, why would they be using Jay-Z's attorney? A lot of the stuff that Jaguar said about Jay-Z, Damon.
That's because Jay-Z pissed. You see, this is a double game they playing. Jay-Z pissed. Jay, no, this nigga got me in the beginning of my career. Got me on tape, got my woman on tape. Beyonce wasn't shit. Everybody want to be Puffy. Beyonce on tape doing some nasty shit with Jigga and everybody else. Come on, man. Puffy got the niggas on tape. Jay pissed about that, but he can't show his hand yet, man. He can't show his hand right now. So, yeah, Jay gonna try to bring him down, but Jay wants them tapes to protect him and Beyonce, man. And the people that get Jay the tapes. People that get Jay the tapes, as long as Jay continue to cooperate and continue to ruin our community and get us to do all kinds of nefarious shit.
Dash, his best friend, said the same thing. So something is just not adding up. And it really, really seems like, and, you know, what is his name? Ray J didn't come out and say, you know, Jay-Z, you know, he is behind, you know, Diddy going to jail. But look how he's speaking up for Jay-Z, but he has nothing to say about Diddy. It is really looking like Jay-Z is, you know, I don't understand why, if Diddy is really his friend as he portrayed,
Nobody's friends.
Why would his lawyer be working with Tupac's family? It's just a lot of stuff to this, y'all. So, y'all, this is deep.
I have left Canada and I have landed in Rome. So I am here and I'm literally traveling a lot, the way I'm taking you guys everywhere with me. And I've just checked into this pretty nice place. I'm just currently in the room. And we got to get into this because I have landed to Jason Lee threatening Jay-Z. This is going to get interesting. Hey guys, it's Murad Murali. Hopefully you guys are all doing well today. Back again with another video. If you have not subscribed, guys, click that button. It is daily and consistent content. Comment down below and give this video a thumbs up. I would appreciate it. And let's get straight into this video. I just had a 10-hour flight from Canada, from Calgary. Guys, I slept for 8 hours on that flight. Do you understand how crazy, amazing that is? I am fresh. I've got energy. It is the day, 7 hours ahead, I believe. And I just got to tire myself out for tonight. But anyways, let's get into this video where Jason Lee has come to threaten Jay-Z and, you know, expose Beyonce once again. He has stated that there was a huge story coming out about Beyonce and that Jason Lee, the superhero, was the person who actually put a stop to this. He saved Beyonce.
Oh, and you also stopped.
We're not going to even go there. I stopped a major thing for Beyonce. Didn't even get a thank you.
He saved her from being exposed. He saved this big story of her coming out. And in doing so, he is upset because he did not receive any kind of thank you from her. Let me get comfortable with you guys because we need to really discuss this. And I'm not comfortable right now. There we go. So I don't know what you guys make of this conversation, but I definitely feel like this man is.
So why is everybody calling me now? Because I'm a firefighter. Because I run towards fires and I put them out or I fan the flames. But why is everybody calling me now? And that's the problem that I have with this whole situation. But I am going to save this conversation for Jay-Z. Jay-Z, you're watching. I know you're watching because you got people calling me.
Threatening them again, because revealing this information, he did threaten her sometime last year, saying that, there are some stuff that he wants to discuss and speak about. It went viral, and then obviously he did not say anything. Maybe he was threatened. Maybe he didn't actually have any information. Maybe this man is just waffling, which is why I probably assumed anyways. But it definitely is interesting to me that he is back at it again, exposing Beyonce, or threatening to expose her, I would say so. He also states that Jay-Z, stop getting people to phone me, you can phone me yourself. Stop getting people to do the bidding work. Now, we know that Jay-Z and Diddy like to call people. We know that Raz B was phoned saying that Diddy and Jay-Z are getting Ray J to call him to sort things out with these allegations and etc. So stuff like this has been said before. So it is believable to me that somebody like Jay-Z would get his people. Why would he call Jason Lee himself? Hey, nobody want to pick up the phone and speak to Jason Lee. Nobody wants to do that. So, even me, I would get somebody to call Jay. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like I'm not mad at Jay-Z doing that. I can understand why he'd be doing that, but I
think about you yet. And yet I'm getting all these calls. I've gotten more calls over the weekend about Jay-Z and Beyonce. I think this is an opportunity to have a bridge and have a conversation about how this thing works, because I'm not a publicist. I am not I'm just Jason, okay? And I have opinions about unlocking Hollywood. Remember, I said at the top of this show, or somewhere in the show, that I was in love with the entertainment industry until I found out it was Jeffrey Dahmer. This is part of the gnawing at the wrist that the industry does. Black excellence, we don't show up for each other like we should. And then when the shit's about to hit the fan or some shit, you think I'm going to go fan some shit. Now you're showing up.
I feel like their names are currently in hot waters because Jaguar Wright was on the Piers Morgan show, and Jay-Z and Beyonce's lawyers obviously got onto that. So since then, they've been back in the news cycle. And even prior to that with Diddy, it's like, well, what did you guys know? They can't really escape this conversation. I don't think any celebrity can really escape the conversation of what did you know, what didn't you know, until Diddy is sentenced. Until he's sentenced, that's wrapped up and he's put into prison, then people will be able to put everybody else to bed if they weren't officially named in these court documents, but they were in rumor mills and conversations. If there's no proof about them, they will eventually be forgotten in regards to being related to this whole Diddy scandal. Now, Jason Lee coming out with this information, again, stating that, he's done so much for Jay-Z and Beyonce, but he's never received any thank yous from them, and that he's upset that Jay-Z is getting his people to phone him when he should be picking up the phone, speaking to Jason Lee directly himself. Basically saying, stop talking about me. We don't need to speak on, etc. I do feel like Jason has a habit of sensationalizing a lot of this stuff, to be honest with you. So I don't know what side you guys are on when it comes to this conversation. I truly don't. I just feel like leave Beyonce out of this. As a man, if you're upset with Jay-Z, just be upset with Jay-Z. It's the second time you've threatened to say something, but then many moons ago, you wanted to take pictures with her. So which side is it? Because if you're a fan of her, I don't believe you'd be speaking about her in this way or in this jest. But basically saying that he stopped these big stories about her coming out. What does that mean, guys? I don't know. Is it just empty words? I wanted to dedicate an entire video to discuss this of 8 minutes because I feel like it also just could be empty words and he is sensationalizing, but I don't think that he would outright publicly lie about somebody. But you never really know when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to LA, when it comes to anybody in that instance, in that place. I feel like people like to say or do things that, they don't really should be doing, but they do it out of desperation of being known, viral or something. I don't know. I'm not saying any party is desperate. I'm just trying to look at different theories of this conversation. But this is what basically is being
in her court filings as pressure continues to mount against Combs and his associates. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. Jesse Weber.
Now, back in June, we told you about a lawsuit filed by Lauren Pashota against rapper Kanye West, and she's suing him for wrongful termination and sexual harassment. But earlier this month, her legal team filed an amended complaint saying she was drugged and sexually assaulted at a party co-hosted by Kanye West and Sean Diddy Combs. Have you heard of him? Of course, because we have been following the Combs case very closely here on Sidebar. He was actually back in court last Thursday, as we reported. This is as prosecutors address the absolute mountain of evidence and discovery they need to go through. During raids on his homes back in March, Homeland Security investigators took away electronics and surveillance systems, which they say contained terabytes of information. They're working their way through it now to determine what is actually relevant to their case. And prosecutors in the Southern District of New York, they accuse Combs of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution. The core allegation that Combs used his power, his influence, his serious wealth to organize sex performances referred to as freak-offs. That's when he would allegedly bring in male sex workers who would have sex with people like Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura. The people taking part in these, what are essentially orgies, were reportedly supplied with alcohol and drugs to keep them compliant and were threatened not to say anything. Now, Combs' attorneys have said that if these freak-offs really did take place, they were consensual, and Combs did nothing illegal. Well, now, going back to this lawsuit, Pashota has come forward to say that Kanye West co-hosted a party with Sean Combs in Santa Monica, California, that led to her assault. This incident allegedly happened before she worked for West as his assistant in 2021 and 2022. She claims she was working with a, quote, musician client, who is not identified in the court filing, when West sought them out to invite them to the music studio shindig. Now, Pashota claims that West told everyone that they had to drink or leave the party. Now, after taking a few sips of her drink, Pashota claims that she, quote, suddenly started to feel disoriented, began to slip into an altered and highly impaired state. Pashota says that she doesn't remember anything else and woke up the next day feeling traumatized and disturbed. The amended complaint says that Pashota was mostly concerned that maybe she had embarrassed herself in front of her then client, or maybe even Kanye West himself. Now, Pashota reportedly believed that someone who helped prepare the drinks was responsible for drugging her. But years down the line, when West reportedly fired Pashota from her job as his assistant, he allegedly confessed to her that they had, quote, hooked up at the party after she was drugged. So according to Pashota, West was having an argument with his then wife, Kim Kardashian, who was accusing him of cheating on her with Pashota. And Pashota wanted to clear things up and suggested that she reach out to Kim to assure her that nothing had ever happened. But she claims West stopped her from sending the message saying, we did kind of hook up a little one time. She says he started to reminisce about that party years before. And when Pashota said she didn't remember any of that, he reportedly laughed and said, women love to say they don't remember. I'm not going to lie to you. It took a while to break down this legal case against Kanye West. These sidebars, they take a lot of work, let me tell you. But luckily, I have something in my life that is not only really simple to use, but what a benefit. It is called Upside. It's our sponsor. It's awesome. It is a free app that helps you get cash back when you buy gas, groceries, food, real cash back, money that appears in your Upside app that you can transfer straight into your bank account. Look here. I used Upside to find a forced to drink at parties connected to Sean Combs. In fact, recently, Tony Busby, a Texas attorney who's saying that he's planning to file more than 100 individual lawsuits against Combs on behalf of clients who say they were victims. Well, during a news conference, Busby talked about Combs' insistence that people drink what they were given.
The typical MO at one of these parties that have been widely discussed in the press was that when you were handed a drink, and now we know that the drink is laced with something, if you refused to drink it, you were kicked out of the party. Now, let that sink in for a minute. I mean, the admission to this party was that you had to drink the chosen drink that was handed to you. And now we know that in most cases, I would say 90% of the cases, these individuals were drugged with some sort of drug. That was kind of the MO.
In fact, knowing the extent of the allegations against Combs, we're seeing some of the accusations from Pashota against West in an entirely new light. I mean, multiple people have come forward saying that they were drugged at events hosted by Sean Combs. And to give you some background here, in her original lawsuit against West, Pichota sued for 15 claims or causes of action, including breach of contract, wrongful termination, sexual harassment, unpaid wages, gender discrimination. And she named not only Kanye West, but also his companies, Yeezy Apparel, Yeezy Footwear, Yeezy Construction. The suit reads, quote, plaintiff has worked in the music industry for approximately 15 years. She has successfully held positions in and as artist management and representation, A&R, marketing consultant, and project management. Due to her professional success, plaintiff had occasions to interact professionally with many artists, including, without limitation, defendant Kanye West, aka Ye. Plaintiff creatively collaborated with defendant on Yeezy Season 1 women's fashion line and placed 3 songs on Donda, Kanye's 2021 album. So West allegedly wanted to make Pichota his executive assistant, personal assistant, in connection with his business affairs and his personal life. They agreed on a salary of $1 million a year, and according to Pichota, she was required to be available to him 24/7. The filing states, quote, at all relevant times, defendant West was aware that plaintiff maintained a strong social media presence comprised of her Instagram and an OnlyFans account, the latter of which was run entirely by an independent management company, and he did not have any issue or objection to it. To the contrary, defendant Kanye West, aka Ye, often boasted to friends and colleagues that plaintiff was an OnlyFans superstar. But that seemed to change, according to Pichota, because she writes, much later in and around August 2022, defendant West stated that he wanted plaintiff to be godlike and asked plaintiff to delete her OnlyFans account. Defendant West agreed to pay plaintiff $1 million if she did so. In further reliance upon defendant's representations, plaintiff deleted her OnlyFans internet account, thereby giving up the annual sums generated from such account. West never paid plaintiff as promised. And Pichota alleges that West would describe sexual fantasies to her via text message. In fact, the filing includes screenshots of these explicit text messages and comments allegedly made by Kanye West. The document also states, West asked plaintiff to get him honey, which is a sexual enhancement and performance honey. Defendant required that plaintiff always have this on hand and available, and she had to deliver it to defendant in advance of defendant's sexual encounters. By the way, this is kind of similar to some of the allegations against Sean Combs, because remember, investigators who searched his properties back in March said that they found hundreds and hundreds of bottles of baby oil and lubricant. There have also been allegations from people who work closely with Sean Combs, like music producer Rodney Lil Rod Jones, that Combs would force his employees to carry around drugs and fanny packs so that they were always available to him. Combs is also accused of forcing his employees to set up the freak-offs, which included lighting and cameras, plus the procurement of sex workers and drugs. Going back to Kanye West, though, West would allegedly share details with Pichota about his latest sexual conquests, as well as ones that he had in the past, including the time she says that he claimed he had sex with an A-list celebrity and told her, this person wasn't named in the filing, but then he texted her, not sure why that thought came to me. Pichota also claims that West told his now wife, Bianca Censori, that he wanted to have sex with her mom while she watched. This was reportedly one of his kinks, that he wanted to have sex with the mothers of women that he was involved in. Censori is an Australian architect and model. She's currently the head of architecture at Yeezy, Kanye West's clothing line. And just adding to this, Pichota claims that West texted Censori about this fantasy, and Censori responded in a way that kind of brushed off the mom comment, but was still sexually explicit. Pichota says that West sent her a screenshot of the text asking if he should have worded it in a different way. According to Pichota, Censori, who was on a working visa, allegedly responded to West in a way insisted upon and required by so she could keep her job. The two were married in 2022. Alexandra Censori, Bianca's mom, says she's keeping out of this latest drama. The Daily Mail caught up with her in Melbourne, Australia, and said that she told them that she wouldn't be drawn into the latest claims about her son-in-law. By the way, just to be clear, Pichota hasn't directly accused Sean Combs of any wrongdoing. Really, she's just putting the impetus on her former boss. That's who she's focusing on. Well, later on in the amended complaint, Pichota alleged that she was traveling with West to an album workshop in San Francisco in 2021, and she says that West pounded on her hotel room door at 6 a.m. and forced his way into her room, claiming he had to use her shower because the one in his room wasn't working. And Pichota says that West later dropped his towel and essentially forced his body onto plaintiffs and ignored her pleas to stop. The filing states that Pichota could not stomach the fact that she worked for the man who had sexually assaulted her against her will while she was drugged, who then successfully lured her back into his orbit by way of a job opportunity to sexually assault her all over again. But her lawyers claim that Pichota didn't speak up about the alleged assaults because she was afraid that Kanye West would retaliate against her. Pichota was terminated from her job as West's assistant and chief of staff over the Yeezy companies on October 28, 2022. They, quote, offered plaintiff a severance of $3 million, which she accepted. Defendants then reneged on their commitment to pay the severance to plaintiff. That's the allegation. Well, a legal representative for Kanye West has denied all of Pichota's claims and at one point said that West would be filing his own countersuit against Pichota. A case management conference was scheduled to be held in Pichota's case on October 1st, but it was continued. Days later, on October 8th, Pichota's lawyers filed the amended complaint. The next case management conference is scheduled for the beginning of December. We'll see which way this shakes up, but that's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. From a new trial date to allegations of government misconduct to issues surrounding an accuser to a third attempt to get out of pretrial detention, we are breaking down some major recent updates in Sean Diddy Combs' case. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Hey guys, this is a law and crime legal alert. Recent studies have uncovered a link between Depo-Provera, aka the Depo shot, and an increased risk of brain tumors. And now lawsuits are being filed against Pfizer, the manufacturer of Depo-Provera, alleging that they failed to warn patients and doctors about this risk and instead rushed the drug to market while downplaying the adverse event reports. So if you've been diagnosed with a brain tumor or experiencing symptoms like headaches, vision problems, seizures, or other neurological issues, you may qualify for compensation. And Wright & Schulte, one of our legal sponsors, is a national firm helping those injured to ensure their claims are thoroughly presented. Visit deposhotclaims.com/sidebar to answer less than 10 questions and check your eligibility to file a claim. Look, I get it. It can be tough staying up to date on everything that is happening in the Sean Diddy Combs criminal case. There is a lot that has been happening. So what we want to do for you is give you some of the top recent updates on the case so that you're caught up to speed. Now, before I even get into the updates, I have to set the stage. The 54-year-old music mogul still locked up, still locked away in the Metropolitan Detention Center out in Brooklyn as he awaits trial on federal sex crimes charges, racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution. Essentially, prosecutors from the Southern District of New York allege that Combs used his business empire and resources and associates to lead a criminal enterprise that was engaged in illegal activity like arson, bribery, kidnapping, even the assault and sex trafficking of women, and that this was going on for years. And more specifically, they allege that he brought in male sex workers for these events called freak-offs, these elaborate sexual performances that he forced, threatened, or coerced people to be a part of, even drugging people, filming these sessions. That's what the allegations are. And it's a complicated case, which brings me to the first update. When on earth is this trial actually going to happen? Well, at a status hearing last week, prosecutors, the defense attorneys, and the new judge overseeing this case, the Honorable Arun Subramanian, agreed to a trial date of May 5th, 2025. Now, obviously, that can change. For a variety of reasons, but it seems to me that the defense has been pushing for this early trial date. I mean, we were suggesting this trial wouldn't happen until the end of 2025, maybe even 2026. But the reason that it seems to me that Combs is wanting an early trial date is because he's locked up. He doesn't want to be there anymore. And even though he is appealing his bail, or his denial of bail, I should say, to a new court, and we're going to get into that in a minute, he and his team may be thinking, let's get him to trial as soon as possible with the hope that he's acquitted and he can go home and put it all behind him. We don't want him languishing behind bars for another year or 2 years as he waits to go to trial. But there are a few things with that. You know what could change the trial date? You know what could delay it? If Combs is hit with new charges, if there is a superseding indictment, that's when prosecutors go back to the grand jury with new evidence in an effort to indict Combs on additional charges. They may also upgrade charges. They may even replace a charge. And that means more discovery, more evidence, more material that needs to be shared, more motions. The timeline would shift. You won't see a May 5th, 2025 date if he's ultimately hit with more charges. Very, very, very unlikely. And in a major update during that hearing, we found out that's not so far-fetched. Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson told the court that the investigation is very much ongoing and that there is a possibility of a superseding indictment. And why would that happen? Well, it could be that through their investigation, analyzing the digital and physical evidence they collected, speaking with more witnesses, including maybe new people who may have come forward, prosecutors may believe they have probable cause that Combs committed more crimes. And by the way, it's interesting during this hearing that prosecutors said their case as it currently stands will take them about 3 weeks, and the defense said their case will take them 1 week. First of all, if there's additional charges, that will change. But the current case taking 3 weeks, the defense saying they'll have 1 week. What that tells me is that the defense is going to mostly focus upon cross-examination of the government's witnesses instead of really calling witnesses of their own. I mean, maybe the defense will call these alleged male sex workers to say that all of these freak-offs were consensual, that no one was pressured, no one was threatened, no one was forced to do anything. And overall, that idea of this being all consensual seems to be what the defense's main theme will be, particularly if you believe that victim one in the indictment, who is not named, but a lot of us believe is Cassandra Ventura, Combs' ex-girlfriend, who accused him in a separate lawsuit of physically, sexually, and psychologically abusing her. In this criminal indictment, prosecutors say he sex trafficked victim one through force, fraud, or coercion, meaning forced her to perform commercial sex acts. Now, it would seem to me that if she were the government's star witness, Combs' defense attorneys would spend a lot of time cross-examining her, suggesting that everything was consensual, that she agreed to everything. And by the way, going back to the timeline here, yes, the government says that their case would take 3 weeks to prosecute, but does that account for the time that the defense would cross-examine their witnesses? How long would the cross-examination of a Cassandra Ventura take? Would it take several hours? Would it take a day? By the way, his defense attorney has also suggested that Combs may take the stand. Would that be the majority of the week as well? What would the cross-examination of Sean Combs take? So even though we're saying it could be 4 weeks, I would imagine it would take a little bit longer. By the way, going back to Cassandra Ventura, his defense team most certainly will cross-examine her, try to get her to say everything was consensual, that yes, she was his girlfriend. Of course, Combs flew her around. Of course, he had sexual activity with her, but he didn't pay her. He didn't promise her anything to engage in sex acts, that she was a willing participant in these essentially orgies. So the estimate from both sides of how long their case will be is very interesting, to say the least. But of course, again, that could change if there are new charges. Now, there was another major update that happened, and it was also addressed in this hearing. The defense's argument that the government engaged in misconduct. In a filing from last week, Combs' defense counsel blames the government, more specifically the Department of Homeland Security, of leaking information and making inappropriate comments to the media. And the defense is now asking for an evidentiary hearing to get to the bottom of all this. More specifically, they allege that the Department of Homeland Security agents leaked the infamous 2016 videotape of Combs purportedly beating Cassandra Ventura in a hotel hallway, which was published by CNN in May of 2024. And remember, that was after the raids on his houses by Homeland Security before his arrest. They say they leaked it. So Combs' defense counsel in this filing wrote, quote, "The available evidence makes a prima facie showing that the government, primarily through DHS, has engaged in a 7-month campaign with 3 objects. 1, preventing Mr. Combs from getting fair consideration by the grand jury. 2, preventing him from getting a fair trial. And 3, strategically leaking confidential grand jury material and information, including the 2016 Intercontinental videotape, in order to prejudice the public and potential jurors against Mr. Combs." Pretty startling allegation there, but they continue. "The government's scheme to undermine Mr. Combs' rights to a fair proceeding has several methods and means. First, there has been a steady stream of false and prejudicial statements made by DHS agents to various press outlets over the last 7 months. For example, Combs' lawyers allege on March 27, 2024, 2 days after the searches of Mr. Combs' residences, an agent specifically identified as working for DHS made public statements to, among other media, the New York Post, that he believes there is a disturbing history of sex trafficking. We are responding to concrete, detailed, explicit allegations. This is not random. We didn't choose his name out of a hat. We had allegations that we're following up on." Second, Combs' lawyers write, the agents encouraged in a particularly brutal and public search of Mr. Combs' homes, during which they handcuffed Mr. Combs' innocent sons and then marched them before a news helicopter and the press. This was an apparent effort to convey that they had overwhelming evidence against Mr. Combs, justifying the public and brutal treatment of even his children, who were handcuffed and manhandled by federal agents armed with assault rifles. Third, government employees have repeatedly leaked grand jury information and materials to the press to raise public hostility against Mr. Combs in advance of trial. And when it came to the source behind the leak of the 2016 tape, Combs' lawyers wrote, "An unrelated third party is not a likely source. If a person not in law enforcement were to leak the videotape to a news source, that person likely would have sold the tape rather than simply give it to CNN." So prosecutors, they responded to this by providing the court with a copy of an email that they had sent to Combs' lawyers on October 9th. And it reads, "To be clear, to our understanding, DHS did not have possession of the videotape prior to CNN's publication of it. Only the government has authority to obtain grand jury material, and the video broadcast by CNN was not obtained through grand jury process." So very interesting there. Now at the hearing, Prosecutor Johnson said that all the defense is trying to do is exclude a damning piece of evidence, seemingly referring to the 2016 videotape. And that is something Combs' lawyers have asked for, because if this evidence was improperly leaked by the government, then there is an argument it should be suppressed, that it shouldn't come into Combs' trial. That would be a big win for him. Well, Judge Subramanian reserved ruling on whether to order an evidentiary hearing to sort all of this out. He said he wants to wait to review each side's arguments, which are due by November 7th. And then he'll see if a hearing is warranted. Now, what the judge did do during this hearing, and this is going to have an impact, is impose a gag order. Now, this was something that the defense had asked the court to do as well. They wanted to stop the government from disclosing material to the media. The federal prosecutors at the hearing were like, okay, we'll agree to that. But the defense, they need to agree to the same, because they say the defense hasn't been so innocent in all this. They called out Combs' attorney, Mark Agnifilo, for doing an interview with TMZ right after Combs was arrested in September, where he called the criminal case, quote, "a takedown of a successful black man." Prosecutor Johnson said this sounded like he was accusing the feds of engaging in a racist prosecution. Johnson said statements of this sort seriously risk a fair trial in this case. So Judge Subramanian instructed Combs' team to propose an order that would govern public statements by both sides. And when reporters flocked around Agnifilo after this hearing, he definitely wasn't as forthcoming as he'd been in the past.
I'm not going to talk about anything that I haven't said in court or in the papers. These are all great questions, but I'm just not going to get into it. So
can you speak about your concerns about the leak in the video? You have spoken about that.
I did it in the court papers, and I'm just going to stick to the court papers. As you guys all know, let me just finish. As you all know, I made a request today for what we were calling a gag order, and I'm I'm not going to walk out of court and do anything other than live up to that.
Talk about his demeanor in jail and what it's been like.
So here's what I'm going to do. I'm not going to answer any more questions. I want to help you guys out, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go back and speak to my colleagues, and then I'm going to be
just
done.
tell us about the
Thanks.
MDC and what it's
No,
like.
yeah. Thanks.
Can we see him being transferred anytime soon? Can we see him being moved anytime soon, or?
Sir, which way are you headed today?
Which way would you
like to go? Okay, yeah, let's go this way.
Now, there was something else that happened during the course of this hearing that we have to address. The amount of discovery in this case. The prosecution indicated the vast amount of material for their forensic teams to extract and review. And I'll give you an example. Prosecutor Johnson said this week that 96 devices were seized in those March raids on Combs' properties. Phones, laptops, hard drives. 51 of the devices were from the LA raid, 36 were from the Miami raid, and 9 were taken from Sean Combs himself. In fact, 8 of the devices in that Miami raid contain over 90 terabytes of information. Think about that, 90 terabytes. What do you have, like 2 terabytes on your iCloud storage? Think about how much that is. And she indicated that extracting that data has been a process. The reporting indicates, though, that the prosecutors have been in constant contact with Combs' attorneys regarding this discovery. In fact, we learned that the government made its first production of material over to the defense on October 7th, so this is ongoing. And what the defense received was search warrants, Combs' iCloud reports, Combs' iPhone activity. So that's going to be a lot to go through as well. And the prosecution expects to turn everything over to the defense by December 31st. Again, given the sheer amount of data, it is surprising that we expect the defense to be able to go through all of this and be able to mount a defense by May 5th. Very, very ambitious, in my opinion. So to be clear, though, we don't know what all of this evidence contains, but at the very least, as based on reporting and prior comments from the prosecutors, they appear to be in possession of videotapes of perhaps the freak-offs, perhaps other alleged criminal activity, but there's probably text messages and photos and a lot to go through as well. Also, while discovery is due by December 31st, I will also let you know that the motions in this case are due by February 17th, 2025, oppositions by March, replies by March 10th, and then trial on May 5th. Again, ambitious. Assuming there are no snags, assuming there are no further issues, we'll see. Now, there is another update in this case that we have to talk about that wasn't addressed at that hearing. It's something that is happening in a different court. You see, Combs has appealed his denial of bail to a higher court, the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. And remember, 2 different judges already denied him pretrial release. They said, given the gravity of the allegations, the weight of the evidence, the potential danger he is to society, the risk of flight, and moreover, allegations that he had been improperly contacting witnesses and alleged victims, Combs should not be let out pending trial. Well, Combs' attorney, Alexandra Shapiro, filed a motion for pretrial release last week with the Second Circuit Court of Appeals, and Shapiro opened the motion by writing, quote, "This case does involve extreme and unusual circumstances, but none that typically foreclose bail or warrant forcing Sean Combs to defend himself from a prison cell. What is extreme and unusual about this case is that Mr. Combs was detained immediately after he was charged, even though he has been in the spotlight his entire life, with many of his purported antics and episodes being widely reported in the press and known to law enforcement authorities. Indeed, hardly a risk of flight. He is a 54-year-old father of 7, a U.S. citizen, an extraordinarily successful artist, businessman, and philanthropist, and one of the most recognizable people on earth. The sensationalism surrounding his arrest has distorted the bail analysis. Mr. Combs was not released pending trial, even though he offered to comply with restrictive conditions that would have prevented any conceivable risk of flight or danger. And remember, Combs had offered a $50 million bail package, putting up his Miami home and his mother's home as collateral, promised to stay in constant contact with authorities, only speak to certain people, would have visitor logs handed over to the court, only certain people would come to the house. He even proposed having a third-party security team monitor his house when he would be under home confinement. And in this motion, Combs denies the government accusations of obstruction. His attorneys concede, yes, he spoke with people about the civil lawsuits he was facing, but says he wasn't aware that the Southern District of New York was investigating him. And once he realized he was being investigated, the appeal motion says he made sure not to continue contact with those people. The motion reads, although the government vaguely described contact with 2 grand jury witnesses, it proffered no evidence of any threats or intimidation. The government could only state there were 14 total contacts between Mr. Combs and one witness and another witness who was contacted multiple times. Defense counsel explained those contacts involved no obstruction or witness tampering. For example, one witness contacted Mr. Combs, not the other way around. She reached out to Mr. Combs and told him, "I'm a grand jury witness." After Mr. Combs informed defense counsel, he was instructed not to contact the witness anymore and didn't. So Shapiro argues the prosecution didn't meet its burden to hold Combs until trial. They've raised a number of very compelling and interesting arguments. Not clear when the court will hear arguments on this or what a decision will be or when a decision will be handed down, but very, very interesting arguments put forward by Sean Combs' defense counsel. Now, I will say this. If Combs were to make bail, would he still want a May 2025 trial date? Would he not want to see this trial much later on? After all, he faces a significant risk and possibility of conviction and being sentenced to serious prison time, perhaps a minimum of 15 to 20 years behind bars if he's convicted. Why wouldn't he want to be on house arrest for as long as possible and try to delay this trial as much as he can? Now, he could feel confident in his case. Maybe he wants to hold the prosecution's feet to the fire. Maybe he wants to get this trial over with as soon as possible. But all I'll say is, if he's granted bail and he is released pending trial, do not be surprised if he then tries to delay the trial date. I just put in that warning. Now, I will say this. Mark Agnifilo did indicate that Combs is not trying to move from the MDC while he awaits the issue on bail. There was reporting that he was requesting to be transferred to a facility in New Jersey, but Agnifilo seemed to say that the MDC had been responsive, so it appears he is going to stay there as he fights this bail issue. And when we talk about major updates in the Sean Combs case, as we talk about potential new charges, I would be remiss if I didn't mention another major update in the Combs case. A Texas attorney named Tony Busby announced that his law firm plans to pursue legal action against the music mogul. And this would be on behalf of more than 100 victims. More than 24 of those future plaintiffs say they were just kids when Combs allegedly assaulted them, including a 9-year-old. And attorney Busby says it's not just Combs caught up in the crosshairs.
The wall of silence has now been broken, and victims are coming forward. Our team has had at this point more than 3,285 individuals contact us with people claiming to have been victimized by Sean Combs. We now represent 120 individuals who intend to bring civil claims in civil court against Sean Diddy Combs, as well as claims against many other individuals and entities that we will name as defendants as we file these individual cases. I expect that through this process, many powerful people will be exposed. Many dirty secrets will be revealed. We know what we are potentially up against. As is always the case in situations like this, when a celebrity is involved, people can be downright mean and nasty. You'd be shocked at the length fans will go, no matter the evidence, to the contrary, to defend celebrities they love. I mean, there's a reason for this word fans. They're fanatics. I've personally already been threatened multiple times on social media. And when I agreed to pursue this, I expected as much. This isn't my first rodeo. But victims who step forward to have their voices heard should not be subjected to that kind of conduct. They should not be targeted.
And by the way, according to TMZ, Busby has already sent out demand letters to a bunch of celebrities in order to get them to settle before he files lawsuits against them. Those, he says, who were complicit or participated in this alleged abuse by Sean Combs. And he also claims that some high-profile people have already settled. Now, he says that he's going to first file lawsuits against corporate entities who facilitated the abuse and then file the lawsuits against the celebrities. So it's going to be a very interesting series of weeks ahead. But here's the thing, and I've said this from the beginning. Busby is the latest in a long line of accusations from other people who have sued Combs that claim he abused minors. And yet, nothing in his criminal indictment, nothing in Sean Combs' criminal indictment is about minors yet. Given this announcement, could we expect a potential superseding indictment to include such allegations regarding minors? Not only would that delay a trial date, but it would make Combs' defense much more complicated. There was no consent defense when it comes to minors. And legal experts I've spoken to have indicated, by the way, that Combs may move to stay, meaning pause all of these potentially 120 lawsuits until the conclusion of the criminal case, which is something we have seen before. And finally, one more update for you on the civil front that may affect the criminal case. And this is with respect to Adria English's lawsuit against Sean Combs. This is the person who claims that she was sexually assaulted and trafficked by Sean Combs at his infamous white parties. Well, her lawyers have withdrew from the case. And here's the thing. Her attorneys were Ariel Mitchell Kidd and Stephen A. Metcalf. Ariel Mitchell Kidd, as you might remember, has been making the news recently, most famously telling News Nation that a sex tape of Sean Combs and an unnamed high-profile celebrity is currently being shopped around. Now, what happened here? Well, English's former attorneys cited a breakdown in the attorney-client relationship and irreconcilable differences. In fact, Mitchell Kidd told the New York Times on October 3rd that, quote, she never lost faith in English's actual case, just in her. Mitchell Kidd said, her case is great. My issue was with her undermining my work and going behind my back, doing things incongruent to advancing her case. But English seems to be celebrating that these attorneys are no longer on her case. In a statement over the weekend, English wrote, I am happy with the decision to withdraw, and this has made it easier for her to secure new professional non-clout chasing counsel. Wow. Now, she has indicated that she has until November 11th to find new lawyers, or she will represent herself in this case. Now, we don't know if Adria English is a cooperating witness for the government's criminal case against Sean Combs or not, but when you see these headlines and you see accusations against attorneys who may be representing potential witnesses for the government, it does make you wonder about the credibility of these witnesses, no? What will cross-examination be like if perhaps Adria English is a cooperating witness and is going to testify against Sean Combs? Will she continue to be a witness? Interesting to think about. How strong is the prosecution's case? This is what I think about. Anyway, I think this is a good summation of where we are currently, the latest in Sean Combs' case. And as always, we will keep you updated on the very latest. That's all we have for you right now here on Sidebar.
Cool, Phil. Follow me.